And I've come up with what I feel are the 3 best things a golfer could do to get the best golf swing, contact, consistency, control of the golf ball to play better golf. And I want to share with you those 3 things right now. So when we're looking at the golf swing, we're looking at controlling the body, controlling the strike, low point, and also controlling the wrist action and plane of the golf swing. If we do those 3 things correctly, we would always play great golf. So controlling the body first. For me, if we hit golf shots with our feet together, we have to swing in balance. When we swing in balance, it's very difficult for the arms to travel too far away from where they should be. So for example, if I place my feet together, toes, ankles touching as near as we can. If I took the golf swing out here, you'll see here how it affects my balance. It pulls me over. If I whip the club inside, again, I'm rocking all over the place. So if I manage to make a turn and a tilt and staying in balance, the arms will go roughly where we want them to go. The only thing I don't like about the feet together swing, it can encourage a little too much hand release through the golf ball. So again, the golfers that have slices, this won't do them any harm whatsoever. But if we're trying to reduce right to left curvature, feet together doesn't work for that. But it does help us find natural balance in our body and natural arm positions in our body. So I would recommend, especially for beginner golfers, that we would start off hitting some shots feet together. We do want to have the feet apart when we play, and the only reason for that is so we can generate more pressure movement and force and power. But if we were going to practice, toes touching, ankles touching as best we can and hit golf balls, we could produce great golf shots just like that one. And it becomes a little bit more natural. We take some of the thinking out of it, of the technical stuff, and try and find that natural position in the bodies. So if your arm swing is all over the place, or you're a beginner golfer, it's a great place to start with some feet together shots to understand how the body should move, how the shoulders should move kind of on a circle in that tilted fashion to get the club moving around your body on the correct arc. The second thing I want you to work on is the wrist action. And ideally what we want the plane to do is kind of go slightly more upright to slightly more shallow on the way down. In order to do that, the wrist needs to go from what we would call extension to flexion. This little wrist flick allows the swing to have a dynamic wrist action to create a strong club face and a good plane and path to the ball. We want the path to be from in to square to in, ideally for a straight shot. So most golfers will tend to whip the club in and then take it over. So this little wrist flick is ideal. So what you can do is hit some golf shots trying to feel you are getting this little flick action. But what I like people to do to accentuate this is just use a little bit of string or tubing in this case to accentuate this. So I've just got some Thera tubing here. I'm going to place this over my club head. And if I do this correctly, we will see how this tubing just changes direction. And the idea is just learning this little swing with this wrist action, this wrist flick, is really great dynamics. You will see as well as I'm doing it, I'm starting to create some pressure shift and some roll with the feet just by trying to move the wrists dynamically. So what I'd advise is you make a few practice swings doing that with the tubing or some string or some rope, whatever you've got lying around. Then go ahead and hit a golf ball, small swing initially, just trying to feel your wrists are doing that very action. And again, that golf shot, tiny draw, really penetrating flight, great strike as well, really felt dynamic and good and easy. That's the key thing, easy. The last thing we're going to focus on is low point. So it's all very good having a really great looking swing, but if we can't get that low point of the golf club forward, then we're going to hit the ground before the ball or top the ball. So quite simply, I've got a T-peg here which is past the ball. You'll see it here, it's just outside one club head width. So it's about 5 inches probably forward of the golf ball. Again, in your practice swings, what I'm looking for you to do, try and get the club to land there. And how we achieve that really is by shifting that pressure, shifting your tailbone, shifting your pelvis more forward. Don't get the head going forward a huge amount, because that can lead to plane path issues. Ideally, if we could do this whilst that wrist flick was happening, that would be really ideal. Then what we want to focus on when we're hitting golf balls is either a line on the ground there or the tee peg itself, and we just want to try and really feel like we can try and take the ball and tee peg in one go. Again, small swings build up to build swings would be ideal, same as everything else we've said. And that one there felt, again, really, really crisp, really great strike. Tee pegs disappeared. And if I could combine those three things, where I've got my body working correctly, my wrist working correctly, and my low point correctly, it takes care of pretty much everything else. Because the body's working correctly, the arm direction is pretty good. We worked on the wrist direction, and we worked on how we land the club in the right spot. So those three little kind of small swings doing these exercises, particularly if you were new to the game, would start to develop the right patterns and movements that we want to be really successful. And based on my 30 years experience teaching, those are the things we want great players to be able to do. And if we can do them consistently, you will play great golf forever.